All right, I'm going to give you just a little bit of guidance in writing your conclusion paragraph. Um, this is, in fact, our assignment in Canvas. You can see. We can scroll down here below those slides, find the place where it says conclusion. Look at this. I've given you bullet points of what your conclusion should probably look like. Each bullet point, one, maybe two sentences. So, first one says, state the relationship between your independent variable and your dependent variable. I'm going to take a look here at our graph, remind you that our independent variable is the rate of acceleration. That's what, the x-axis, that's the independent variable. The dependent variable is force. Now, this is a little bit backward because we did actually vary the force and find the rate of acceleration. But in order to get this relationship, we needed to graph it this way. It makes the mass become the slope of our line, which is kind of cool. So what kind of relationship is this? You should be able to identify it from like the various relationships that we have in our physics notebook or the ones I've talked about. There's a variety of places we find this information. So you're going to say something like the relationship between the rate of acceleration, hint, hint, our independent variable, and force, hint, hint, our dependent variable, is blank. What is this type of graph? Remember, it goes through the origin, goes through that point 0, 0, because no acceleration comes with no force. No force comes with no acceleration. When you don't push on something, nothing happens. So we've got our first paragraph, our first sentence, the relationship. Next one, describe the experiment in 1 to 2 sentences. What did we do? We measured the motion of a fan cart as we applied different forces to it. Something like that. Then we were able to find, the force and the rate of acceleration. You might say something like that. I don't, use your best judgment on that one. Describe the trend in data, how the data looks on your second graph. What's my data doing? My sentence could look something like, when I graphed the rate of acceleration and the force, I got, 3 points of data that fell in a straight line. Well, what kind of straight line? Can you say something about, how they are? Hint, hint, back to that relationship thing. State the equation which made the best fit line on the second graph. Well, my equation is y equals 0.82x. I want you to say that. The equation I found that fit my data was y equals 0.82x, period. Then explain the parts of the equation. What are the x and the y in the experiment? What is the number in front of x? I told you what the number in front of x was. So I told you what x and y are. X is whatever you labeled x. Y is whatever you labeled y. In this case, x is acceleration, y is force. The number in front of x, the slope of this line, is more than just the slope of the line. There it is. You're going to tell me that. If it worked. What scientific law did you just prove? Google that equation if you need to. You should be able to tell me that. You should say something like, this equation shows that blankety blank blank law works, or I derived blankety blank blank law. If you did more than one mass, maybe you were one of those lucky people, what effect did the mass have on the acceleration? Does something accelerate faster or slower when it's more massive? You might also say, you might also show me the graph of different masses if you have that. You don't really need to say much more about that, but that'll work. That's really all there is to this writing a conclusion paragraph. I hope this helps.